Hi, and welcome back to the Positive Prepper. I know that it's been a while. It's been busy. So has all the news if you haven't been paying any attention to it. So the first thing, obviously, I want to do is hi and welcome back. Happy New Year. Didn't start out very well, though, did it? So, as you well know, we have the New Orleans tragedy, the Las Vegas truck bomb. In Honolulu, Hawaii, there were 3 dead and over 20 injured from a fireworks display that went crazy. And then in Queens, New York, also 10 people were wounded when 4 men fired into a crowd. Not to mention the 4 plane crashes. The heavy fog now is a concern for a lot of people. So obviously our hearts go out to everybody that has been affected by any of this New Year's Eve, New Year's Day chaos. It's just sad. I was reading about some of those victims from New Orleans and just sad. So we have been feeling a lot today like there's a shift in the force, a ripple in the force. Things are not normal. And so what I want to do in this video, there's 2 main things I want to talk about. The first one is the fog that's been going on and how that ties into some other things. And then PsyOps and why we may be looking at some massive PsyOps. Remember that Trump is not in office yet. We have until the 20th, right? 17, 18 days. And that's only if tomorrow goes well. If they cannot come to a consensus on the Speaker of the House, they can't certify the votes. So we'll see what happens. So I want to talk about the fog. I mean, there's a million things that I could be talking about that's been going on. But this is hopefully going to tie everything together. So, you know, I'm sure you've been hearing this thick, heavy fog. We've had it here in Wisconsin for many days. Okay? And we were watching some videos on YouTube from people where that heavy fog had been, and there were like this substance that was ending up in like swimming pools. People were talking about how it smelt different, tasted weird, like metallic-y kind of. So I don't know if you guys are aware of patent number US 1338343A. It's a US patent 1338343A. Okay, this was patented in 1920. And it's basically a patent that creates heavy fog, mist, and clouds. And it has been used for military camouflage, theatrical effects, and environmental research. As a matter of fact, our military today still uses it because it gives them cover, right? Or concealment. And so you notice that since this fog started happening, the videos of drones has gone way, way down. Like you just can't see them anymore, right? Because of the thick fog. And yes, that fog has been over New Jersey. So is this the military using this fog as a camouflage for whatever these drones are up to? I don't know. I'm throwing it out there. Is it a PSYOP? And I'm going to get into that in a little bit as well. But just some words of wisdom to take with you about that the U.S. does have a patent on heavy fog, clouds, mists, and the timing of it, coincidence? I think not. Drones were a really big thing, and you notice that we never got an answer from the government about what those drones were about, where they came from, who was running them. They just kept poo-pooing it off. People were fearful because, if you watch some of the videos on them, it looked like there were like lasers coming out of some of them. They were flying in formations. So we really don't have an answer to that other than what they kind of poo-poo off. Well, I don't believe that we're ever going to get an answer for that because now we've moved on, right? And now with the New Orleans and the Las Vegas incidences that happened, do you really think that we're going to get honest answers from the government about either of those? I doubt it. Reason being, when's the last time you've heard anything about the two men who attempted to assassinate President Trump? What's the last that you've heard? I haven't heard anything. It's not on the news. I haven't seen it in articles. I haven't seen it anywhere on YouTube. It's not on the radio. It's not on public radio. It's nowhere. It's not out there. They're not giving us answers to those. They're not giving us information on the drones. And of course, they're staying silent about the fog, right? So we're not going to get answers about the two men that were involved in these two events. There are possible ties. They ordered their trucks from the same company. They went to the same military base. That's the only two links that I'm aware of. But we also know that the first guy that attempted to assassinate Trump, he had some ties over there to the Middle East, but we never heard to who or what. And I have said before in several videos that we are coming into the age of these attacks coming from the inside. They say that the driver in New Orleans was actually a U.S. citizen from Texas. He, a year ago, got brainwashed into joining ISIS and carried out this heinous thing that he did. And no, I'm not going to say his name. This is just the beginning. While all of this was going on, they had a massive protest for Infantada revolution. So this isn't the last, guys. This is just the beginning. Okay? I want to talk about PsyOps. So, why is some of this stuff going on? Well, number one, it's a distraction. Okay? Keep your eyes focused on all of this so that we can do this over here. Remember that Trump is not in office yet, and they are hell-bent on keeping him out. I think that's a part of it, of why some of this other stuff is going on. The second reason, they're using fear as a tool. When people live in fear, they trust their leaders to figure out what's going on, right? They're willing to give up their freedoms. Remember back in 2020, does this sound familiar? And then they rally around whatever solution is offered. So the government creates it, sends up a solution, everybody rallies around it. And then it's also testing the waters. So, you know, it starts with this, and then it escalates to this, and then it escalates to this, and then certain things start getting put into place because it's justifiable to fix whatever the problem is. Okay? So we go through a normalization phase, and I think that's what they're doing right now with the UFOs. And all of the information that's supposedly going to come out from the government about them. They're already talking about it. They're already normalizing it. Okay? They make something sound reasonable. And what that does, it sets the stage for something bigger to happen. Whereby at that time people are not so in shock and awe over it, right? It's, well, they told us this was going to happen, so we shouldn't worry about it, right? And then what happens is everybody starts looking for that one person that's going to come in and be the hero. And I don't think that they're looking for Trump to do that. I think there's somebody else that's waiting in the wings. So what I think is going to happen next is they're going to escalate the UFO information, real or not. They're going to amplify the threat. So the media, that's all the media is going to talk about. So right now, you know, they're talking about Las Vegas and New Orleans. Okay, these two incidences that may or may not be connected. But the media is going to come out and blitz something. And I think it's probably going to be the UFOs. And when that happens, then a global event is going to happen. And it'll be something very coordinated. Okay? So, here's what you can do to spot whether or not some of the things going on are PsyOps or not. So you have to figure out whether the sources that the information is coming from is credible. Is it credible or is it sensationalized? And again, I want you to think back to 2020 with how all of that started. And you got to remember, too, we've got the bird flu that is being amplified. Right? Now they're even testing cheese for it. They're slowly normalizing the fact that our food is tainted and bad for us. Well, if you control the food, you control the world, right? So they're already normalizing it to not have faith that what you're eating is good. Okay? So you have to look at the source to see whether it's credible or whether it's sensationalized. Who owns the source that you're hearing the information from? Is it a government-controlled company? Is it defense contractors? Is it BlackRock? Right? Who has shares in those companies? Is it congressmen? Senators? Right? Follow the narrative. So, are all the media outlets saying the same exact thing? And we know that this has happened. You can watch 50 different news channels and they're all going to use the same narrative, the exact same words. Okay? So you have to look for that kind of coordinated messaging, I guess we could call it, where everybody's saying the exact same thing. And then when are they releasing that information? So what is the timing on it? Is it during a major event? Okay. So we have this heavy fog now that started happening after all these drone sightings were being circulated. So you have to question the timing on that. And then you have to look for is what they're telling you, or is the event creating an emotional response? Because if it's not creating an emotional response to you, it's not going to have as much impact. Okay? So if it is made or designed to make you feel something emotional, then that's probably a PsyOp. Okay? Again, look back at 2020. There were a lot of emotions running about that. There was a lot of fear. There was a lot of same narratives, right? And then look at what happens after that. So is it the event, this whatever? So let's just stay with the UFOs or the bird flu. We can do either one of these, okay? Is the government solution something that is going to expand government control? Or will it be done to justify some new laws? Again, think back to 2020. Think about what's going on now. Okay? Are these drone sightings and UFOs and all of that, are they going to step up surveillance on U.S. citizens to keep us safe? We've heard that before. When it's a PsyOp, all of the static behind it gets lost. Okay? Any other events or things that happen kind of get drowned out by this one thing. And so when you have the way that journalists used to be, is that you would have a news story, and then you'd have a news story, and you'd have a news story, and they would be like 4 or 5 different things, right? Our news coverage today, they focus on one thing, and they keep you focused on one thing. How much other news did you hear back in 2020, 2021? Not a lot. Not a lot. Okay, except it was an election year, I guess. But even that was put under the layer of the pandemic that was going on. So that's what PsyOps will do. It will put everything in the back and into white noise, and you won't be able to hear any of the other news stories that are going on. The other thing to look for is, and this is why I brought up why we will never hear the truth about the drivers of both trucks in New Orleans and Las Vegas, because if they are if our media was real, they would continue to give updates on some of these things that have been going on. Okay, Trump's 2 assassination attempts were not that long ago. When's the last time we've heard any updates on any of that? PsyOps makes that go away because it served its purpose. It did what it needed to do at the time, and now we're just going to have it go back. We're just going to have it disappear. Okay? So if something is big, and then it kind of fizzles out and goes away, that's a PsyOps. Drones, something big, went away. Trump's 2 assassination attempts, something big, went away. Okay, now we've got bird flu coming in. How long is that going to stay in play? Okay? So you have to trust your gut. If what you're hearing feels scripted, it's probably PsyOps. And you guys are all smart. You know what sounds real and authentic and what doesn't. And I haven't heard anything authentic for a long time. Okay? So, what do we do about this? So the first thing that we have to do as preppers, remember that as preppers, we prep in possibilities. So the possibility right now that something big is coming, which is why they're hiding the drones now with this fog that we happen to have a patent for. Again, look that up. With these individuals who are, you know, just in the first day of the new year, has created so much chaos and tension for a lot of American people. You have to have your critical thinking skills. You need to trust your gut, and you need to look for those patterns. Does it come in and then go away, right? And then who benefits from it? Who benefits from what they're telling you? So we know that the war in Ukraine, that we're sending these billions of dollars to, and we have this company in Scranton happens to be sending the ammunition. Well, we know why, because we know who benefits from that. Okay? So who benefits from these stories of the drones or the UFOs? Who benefits from the bird flu is affecting all of our food? Oh, and by the way, now you need to go get all your flu shots because you're going to die if you don't, is what they're telling you. Who benefits from that? So you have to look at that as well. Okay? Is the evidence that they're telling you verifiable? It wasn't back in 2020 and 2021. As a matter of fact, anybody that questioned it was shut down pretty darn quick. Right? They use their own experts. Well, who benefits from that? Right? And then you also have to ask, why now? Why is this happening now? Well, we know why it's happening now. Because we have an incoming president with, what, 17 days, 16 days? I don't know what day it is, but... So I understand why now. Makes sense. It's not coincidental. And then strengthen how you are psychologically and mentally. Okay? Recognize those single narratives. Recognize the fear tactics. Why are you being told to be afraid of this? But remember, not saying that is also PsyOps. So the drones are fine. There's nothing to be afraid of. But by not giving you answers, it elevates that fear level. So by not telling you that, they're having the same outcome. Okay? And then have mindfulness, meditation, pray for discernment. Okay? Keep your eyes on God. Pay attention to what's going on, but keep your eyes on God. Because God will help you with that discernment to kind of separate the wheat from the chaff, right? And then stay connected to your community. Stay connected to your mag group. Build that self-preservation that you should already be doing anyways as preppers. Okay? This year could be, I'm not gonna sit here and put out predictions. Because I don't know. I mean, you know, I could say that we're probably headed for a Great Depression. If you look at the way that the kind of the scales are coming out or whatever, if you will, we're headed in that direction. I don't know if it will happen. I would say that these attacks inside our country, car bombings, stuff like that, is going to really ramp up. I think that we may end up having another pandemic, complete with the isolation and the shutting down everything again. Look at how many recalls there have been on food just in the last 3 months. Insane amount of recalls. Okay. So, I don't know what other predictions I could make at this time. I just know that, especially until the 20th, it's not going to be an easy ride. And I think after that, it could be even worse. And I know that's not joyful, positive news. I know it's not. But we have to be real about it. And that's why I wanted you to understand what PsyOps are. Some you guys probably already know that. Some of you may not. But I hope that information was helpful. So that anytime you read something, hear something, see something, somebody tells you something, question it. Question it. Well, I heard this was going on. Really, where'd you hear it from? Well, so-and-so, how did they hear it? Follow it back. Was it an article? Who wrote the article? Is it a credible source? You know, do all those steps. Get the right information. Get the credible information. And then prep in accordance with what you believe to be true after you've done all your research. Okay? Please hit that like button. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Put some comments, please, below. Let me know what you think. Let me know where you think we're headed in 2025. I would love to hear your feedback on that. And thank you for all of you for taking the time to watch this. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and God bless.